I really like urban exploration. So I found this old abandoned school, climbed over the iron gate, and went in. Really big building, a lot of rooms. The doors were really old and heavy, and I had difficulty pushing them open, so it doesn't seem possible that one could have done it. There were also no windows or anything open anywhere near me, and I was in the middle of the building, not close to the half-open door I went in from either. I don't know if I believe in ghosts, but it seems like interesting footage to post. In the video, I am reading old archives looking for people I knew just for fun. Translation, date 98. Fuck. I said fuck because I caught a glimpse of the door closing before it started creaking. Then I said, the doors close on their own, and then the video cuts out. It was like 20 minutes of footage, but that was pretty much the only interesting part I caught, so I thought I'd post it here and get some opinions. Because I wasn't planning on uploading it anywhere, I stumbled upon it now and figured why not. Curious Raven here. This video will not be posted because it is illegal to break and enter and to explore abandoned buildings, so the user asked me not to show the video. But that is very creepy, and that would have scared the crap out of me if I was in somewhere by myself and that happened. I have worked in an emergency call center for nearly a decade. I have spent about half of that time off and on working the late night shift and have many interesting experiences. We get a lot of strange calls at night. They're usually written off as people experiencing sundowner syndrome. If you're not familiar, sundowners is an increase in anxiety and confusion that occurs in some individuals as the sun begins to set. The individual could otherwise be fine during the daylight hours. A few of those that call in, though, I cannot help but believe they are experiencing ghosts. One nice person would call in the middle of the day and talk about the people outside of a residence. She would describe them in great detail, and even describe speaking to them. One time she was speaking to a young girl and boy, but they kept running from her when she would try to approach them. They were telling her about how they could not find their mother. Another time she called and stated there was a man outside her home using her water hose to clean a deer he had killed. We would respond and find nothing but a little old lady living out in the woods. This went on for several weeks. We would also get what we would call ghost calls, which would be a random call from a disconnected line, which would just be static. The one ghost call I would often get was from an address where an accused pedophile hiding from the police about 2 hours south of his hometown was found after he had hanged himself there. I was working when his body was found, and later when I would get calls from that address, and it would just be static. It was spine-chilling, almost like you could hear someone breathing. A call back to the number would always get you have reached a number that has been disconnected. We have never been able to get an official explanation for this anomaly. Obviously, strange and grisly things happen during the daytime, but at night there are different things that happen, and over time I have to come to believe that these things may be related to paranormal activity. When my first family moved into my childhood home, there was a single human tooth laying on the center of the floorboard of one room. The floorboards around it had this weird circular pattern. Anyone know what could cause it? I remember feeling a strong presence and would hear breathing when no one was there. I also saw an orb one night, but this was likely a lucid dream. The feeling of a presence is the main thing. I now live in a very old house, but there is zero presence. It's completely different. Hello everyone. I have always been very interested in ghost hunting and paranormal stuff. Yesterday I decided to look around for legit cheap alternative to ghost hunt. I found this one called GhostTube and decided to check it out. Me, my mom, and girlfriend sat down and asked questions. I live at a place where there is about 4 accidents each year, and many people have passed. A lot of older generations say that this place is cursed due to all the accidents and whatnot. Let's get back to what happened yesterday. We heard some voices coming through, but it was not clear. Then we decided to ask, were you in an accident here? And we got a long answer, but weren't able to make it out. Luckily, we recorded the voice that came through and replayed it. Then to our shock, we heard, horn sound, oh fuck, and it ended. We were shocked, absolutely terrified. A month ago, a car drove into the river at the end of our road. No one knew how it happened, or anything. He just drove the car in the river and drowned. I'm wondering if the EVP was a recapture of his last moments. Link to the accident. This is in Danish. I will have the link down below. So yesterday my mom told me a story about something that had happened to her at work. My mom was always a huge skeptic, as I have been myself, but this has probably freaked us both out as we can't explain it. I'm curious to see what others think. My mom works at a pharmacy as a dispenser. She has a colleague that she talks to every day who is also a skeptic, but has an interest in the paranormal. She told my mom a story about how she went to visit a graveyard to visit a loved one with one of her friends. They were the only ones in the graveyard, but they heard a female humming. They assumed it was someone crouching behind a grave, tending to it, and had looked around, then eventually came to a grave where the sound appeared to be coming from, but nobody was there. They checked their phones and other devices, and nothing. A little freaked out, they went to the pub nearby and had some food. As they were chatting, they both went silent at the same time and froze as they could hear the humming again. They carried on eating and eventually parted to go home. Later that night, my mom's colleague got a call from her friend who was hysterical. She cried down the phone that she heard the humming in her house. Mom's colleague calmed her down and reassured that it was nothing and she was probably just hearing things. After putting the phone down, she went upstairs to bed as it was late. She heard the humming in her bedroom. My mom, upon being told this, wasn't amazed, as she just brushed it off as a story, being the skeptic she is. She left the room and walked down the long hallway leading to the top of the stairs. She says she heard a female humming right behind her. Different notes, but only lasting like 2/3 of a second. She turned around to laugh at her colleague, thinking she was taking the mick. Nobody was there. Her colleague was still in the room on the other end of the hallway, too far away to be heard. And nobody else was on that floor with them. There's no PA system or any kind of speakers, and she didn't have her phone or anything on her. I've never seen my mom so freaked out, but as she's a very straight-laced person and also tries to debunk everything paranormal, I can't think of anything either. What do you guys think?
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross